like I'm looking down on the thing, but it's better than yesterday. All right, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Good morning. Again, I just want to give praise to the Most High because of us just being able to fellowship like this. And the thing is, my wife and I were talking about it this morning, and that the thing is that it's just a little taste, right? But when we get to the sea of glass, it's going to be like this all the time. Like we never have to part. And it's going to be like the sweetness of the Spirit is going to be with us all the time. So that's why we're going to be rejoicing. There'll be no more pain or nothing to be dealing with or no more oppression. It'll all be all sweet. So right now it's just a little taste. So we praise the Most High for times like this that we get a chance to do it. And I just want to thank all of y'all that did what you had to do to get here. And we praise the Most High for that. So yeah, everybody took different journeys, but we ended up here. Isn't that the way it goes, though? Yes. All of us take different journeys, but we hopefully all end up on the same sea of glass, standing before the same throne. Praise the Most High. Yeah, so praise the Most High. That's right. Brother, Thesia, he sent the message. He said, "Man, I wish I could be there. He's in Ireland." I said, "Well, maybe next year. You'll be here. We pray and see if you could be here." But yeah, and David too from London. So we just praise the Most High. So today we're going to be looking at chapter 8 of Deuteronomy. And the thing about chapter 8 is the number. The number that's illustrated in chapter 8. Y'all know what number it is? 40. That's right. Very important number. And the Bible is in fact a book that includes very special numbers. I mean, it's not all numbers, and this is what makes it the word of the Most High, because there's different aspects. There's prophetic utterances, there's teachings, there's history, and there's numbers. Different numbers mean different things. 7 is like perfection, completion. 2 means it's established, right? He said he showed him twice. That means it's established. The Pharaoh asked Joseph, and he said it's a thing established by the Most High. It's 2. And then, of course, there's 12. The 12 tribes, the 12 apostles. 12 is the tribes of Israel. It represents us. Then there's 144,000. And I don't know about you, we've been seeing that number a lot. 144, 44. My wife said, "Look at the clock, 9:44." Yeah, 9:44. Then I was like, they were talking about Deion Sanders' son, and he was picked 144. So I said, hey, maybe he's more blessed than he realized. He was picked at 144 pick. So I said, okay. And then there was an injury in the playoffs, and it happened with 1:44 left in the game. So I said, oh, okay. And I keep seeing the number. So y'all do too, right? Y'all see it? Because we keep seeing that. Everybody go and see that number. So the numbers are important. And of course, 144 is 12 times 12,000. Don't worry about it. 12 times 12,000. Yeah. So today is the number 40. So 40 is important because we're going to see it represents what? Testing. Usually the end of a 40 is the end of a test. Some sort of test, some sort of thing the Most High is bringing us through. And we are all looking at 2027 because it's the 40th Jubilee. Jubilee is every 50 years. 50 times 40 is 2,000 years. The Most High sent the Messiah, and the Messiah made the announcement of a Jubilee in AD 27. So 2,000 years later brings us to 2027. And so that's where we're at, and that's the end of it. No, we don't exactly know what's going to happen, but we do know it's on a Jubilee, and we do know what happens on the Jubilee is the same day as what? Day of Atonement. That's right, the Day of Atonement. And what happens on the Day of Atonement? What's the significance of the Day of Atonement in the Bible? What does it mean? What is that for? It's repentance, but what happens at the end of that? He opens a door, right? And then what happens? What goes on there? Cleansing of the sanctuary, right? Because all of our confessed sins represented in the sanctuary on the Messiah. And when he opens the door, all of your confessed sins goes on the scapegoat, which we know represents Satan. So all of our confessed sins goes on the scapegoat, and that means the sanctuary is cleansed from all sin, and therefore we also are cleansed from all sin. So in a sense, the Day of Atonement represents a sealing of the nation. It's not just us as individuals, it's individuals that represent Israel, the nation. And not just that, it is the nation also who is included with the nation that day. The strangers that dwell among us. Now, this is different than us dwelling among them. Well, okay, so let's talk about that for a second, because this is very important. So now, look, if we're dwelling among them, we in their house, right? We in their system. We're under their thumb. If they dwell among us, that means they're coming among our culture. Let's break it down a little further so that we can make it like plain, right? So you live in a black neighborhood and a white family moves in. So they just moved in among you. But if it's a white neighborhood and you move in, you just moved in among them. And so when you move into their neighborhood, they have a culture. They have things that they allow, things they don't want, and you got to conform to them. Or at least they're expecting you to conform to them. But when they come into your neighborhood, no, they got to conform to you. Because they not in their spot, they in your spot. It's like they were talking about expatriates that go to other countries, and some certain people, we ain't got to name who, they want to go to other people's countries and act like the country got to change. Because I'm not used to y'all doing this. This is what we do where I come from. You got to do it this way. But most people that are like us, they say, no, this is their country. They don't need to conform to you. You need to conform to them. So things ain't going to happen the way you used to it happen. Well, brethren, that's what happens when the stranger dwells among us. They conform to us. We're not conforming to them. So therefore, when they conform to us, what are they conforming to? A Hebrew Jesus, a Hebrew Messiah. They conforming to the culture of the Hebrews. And then we accept them. And that's not generally what happened. Like if you ever been, like when I was in school, I'm too old, but I'm old enough to remember, but forced busing. I don't know, some of y'all wasn't around with forced busing, but some of us was, right? When you was in a neighborhood, you went to a school, your school, everybody looked like you. Your neighborhood, everybody looked like you. But then come the yellow bus and they bring you to the other side of town. And you was in the school where it was mostly them. And so you come into their school and it felt strange because they wasn't used to you being there. And I remember I put up a big fight because I didn't want to be there. And I was only about 8 years old. And the principal was showing me on the map one, and I said, I don't care, I want to go back to my black school. And he said, no, you can't. This is the way they divided up. And he's trying to show me how they divided the neighborhood up and bust us out. But we was among them. So we tried to stick together because we was among them, you know. They didn't want us. We didn't want to be there, but it is what it is. But now it's like this. When heathen Gentiles want to come among us, they're conforming to us. And so when they with us, they with us. And the thing is, whenever one of them, we used to call him the white boy because he was the only dude in our neighborhood. He moved, his family was poor and they moved in our neighborhood. And we used to call him the white boy. But we afterward, we gave him a hard time. Boys gave him a hard time. But after a while, he was like one of us because he was in our neighborhood.
That always reminds me of what you're talking about. Genesis 18:18. It says, seeing that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed.
That's right. In him. That's right. So when we accepted the white boy, he wasn't the white boy anymore. He just he was one of us. And then, years later, we was on the train, me and my brother in New York, and we saw this guy sitting at the end of the chain, and my brother said, yo, that's the white boy. I said, get out of here. I said, what white boy you talking about? And it was him. And I was like, oh, sure. And he got up out his shit, and we just hugged because we was all from the same neighborhood. But then he became like us, right? It wasn't like we was always separate from him. He hung out with us. We drank together, whatever. We was together. So that's how it is with this. When they come among us, they're with us. And that's why there's some Hebrews that teach, well, white people can't be saved. No, that's not true. When he says they come among us, they're accepted with us. Okay, it's like you go to a club, and I know brother Akawan Banya. Well, who know him? I know him. Can you let me in? Well, let me go and find out. And they say, Akawan Banya, you know this cat named Raw? I don't know no Raw. They come back and say, no, you can't come in. Right? But if you come back and say, oh yeah, he said, let him in, come on in. You in now because he knows me and I'm coming in. That's why it's important what Messiah said when he said there's people that are going to come in and he's going to say what? I never knew you. You can't come in. I don't know you. And he said, and what it is, if I come to the party and I use Brother Akawan Banya's name, and I don't really know him and he don't know me, what am I doing? I'm name dropping. Right? So I come in there and saying, yo, me and Michael Jordan is tight. This is club. Me and him grew up together. Let me in, man. Let me go to MJ and see. I don't know no Raw. Right? I ain't grew up with no Raw. So then I can't get in. Right? But the Messiah say, oh, I know Sister Helen. I know Brother Jeff. They can come in. Bring them right back here. Or, look, I don't know nothing about no McFarland. Don't bring him in here. I don't know nothing about him. He's a stranger. So that's what's going to happen that day. He's going to say, some people will say, we've been preaching in your name. And he's going to say, y'all was just name dropping. I don't know you. Right? Y'all was just name dropping. I don't know nothing about y'all. You can't come in. All right? So that is what it's talking about in the Day of Atonement when it says, you and the stranger that dwells among you. Because, it's unfortunately, a lot of people in the cultures that we are living in don't understand what we just said. That's right. And there's more that don't want to understand. Exactly. But that's, I say it like this, that's their business. That's their business. Our business is us. That's our business, right? And our Father's business is our business. So he said, on the Day of Atonement, we cleanse in the sanctuary. That means we are being sealed, us and those among us. And when we're sealed now, that means the Holy Spirit is now a part of our character permanently, like we saw yesterday when he granted them the white righteousness, right? The white robe of righteousness. He granted it to them. So now it's yours. Now you are ready to dwell among angels. You're ready to dwell among people that have never sinned. You're ready to dwell in a clean place without making it dirty. Okay, so that's what the sealing is all about, sealing us so that we're prepared to go in there. Right now, if he was to let a rascal like me in there, who knows what's going to happen? But right? So that's why he has to get us ready so that we can be clean enough to go in. That's right. Change our spirit, everything. So now that brings us to Deuteronomy chapter 8. That's why I didn't want to do it yesterday, because there's some chapters that just deserve to be by themselves. And Deuteronomy chapter 8 is one of them. So let's go through that. Now, again, we're going to point out, very important, that the deliverance from Egypt is very similar to our deliverance. There are even some Hebrews that are teaching that we're going to all go back to Egypt and walk across the Red Sea. But of course, that's like getting the box on your forehead, right? Like they don't understand, right? But it's not that. And we're going to look at and let the scripture tell us what exactly it means. But here in Deuteronomy chapter 8, beginning at verse 1, Deuteronomy chapter 8, beginning at verse 1, all the commandments which I command thee this day, ye shall observe to do, that ye may live and multiply and go in and possess the land which Yahweh sware unto your fathers. Now, this is the 8th chapter, right? Have you heard this in Deuteronomy before this? Right? It's like he keeps repeating it. There's several things that Moses repeats over. This is one of them. Obey the commandments of your God. Obey the commandments of your God. Then the second one, don't turn to what? Other gods. Don't worship other gods. He keeps repeating that. Because why? The most important commandment is the first one. I am Yahweh that brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. You shall have no other gods before me. That's the most important one. When I was in the SDA church, they made the fourth one the most important one, but that's not it. It's the first one, because the first one keeps you from worshiping any other God but your God. You can mess up in terms of life. You can do this and do that and have all kind of problems, like I was acting a fool yesterday. You could do that, but that don't mean you change in your God, because after that you come right to him. Right? Versus whoever you go to, before. But so I'm not lighting candles to no Catholic saint. I'm not going to no Sunday church. I'm going back to my Father. Right? And then he can deal with me as he knows how to do, right? Yeah, right. See, this time, I'm gonna just give you counsel. But don't let me have to go get the switch now. I got it. Got you. So that's the difference. So the first one is the most important one. You're not going to have no other gods, which means you're worshiping the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who is your ancestor. You're going to worship the God of your ancestors, and he is the creator. When you see the sky, he made that. When you see the trees, he made that. He put the sun that nobody can stare at. He put that up there. That's your God. He made all that. You can't see him, but you see what he has made, including yourself. Right? He has made everything, including you. Praise the Most High. So this is the commandment. He says, in this, look, that's what the difference is when somebody says, we cannot keep the commandments are done away with. To say that is slapping him in the face. Even if it's true which it is, that we in our flesh can't obey all of the commandments, you don't blame the commandments. It's not the commandments' fault that we can't obey them. It's our fault. It's the Father's fault that caused us to be in line with them by his Spirit. You see? So we don't say it's done away with because I can't keep it. That's like moving the Father down low to your level. He's not a sinner. So he wants to bring you up to his level. Righteousness, right? Clean, right? So he's trying to do that. So when he says this, we revere the commandments. We revere all of them. Even if I don't obey them perfectly, I understand what they are and they're right. I'm wrong. He's right. Okay. So if I'm not doing something that this commandment says, it's not his fault. It's me. Right? So if he forgives me and puts his righteousness on me, that's him. Right? It's not on me, it's him. So this is why when you see this over and over again, we understand we're revering the law of our God. We're revering what he has told us to do. Okay? We may have a problem doing it sometimes, but that don't change what he told us to do. Okay? Praise the Most High. Verse 2, thou shalt remember all the way which Yahweh thy Most High led thee these 40 years in the wilderness to humble thee and to prove thee and to know what was in thy heart, whether thou would keep his commandments or no. So why did he put them in the wilderness? For what? To test them, to prove them, test them, to see what was in their heart. Well, doesn't he already know what's in the heart? So why did he say to see what was in your heart? To test our faith and for us to have a clear view of us, right? Because one of the difference between the people that are going to be redeemed and the people that are not, the people that are redeemed have looked at themselves in truth. The people that are not are living a delusion. And that's why in this world, everything they put on the news, whatever they're trying to tell you is to get you to buy into a delusion versus seeing what you really are. The Most High doesn't see no delusion. He sees you and he sees me. He's just waiting for us to catch up and see ourselves. When we see ourselves, we can go to him. And the perfection that he covers us with, we understand is of him. We know us, right? But we know what he gives us as a gift. And we praise the Most High for that, the gift of righteousness. So that is why he said, to know what was in thine heart. Well, that's to teach us what's in our heart. Because what does the Bible say about the heart? It's what? It's deceitful above all things. So we can easily fool ourselves. I look in the mirror and I say, I'm looking all right. Until somebody take a picture. right? And I said, and I'd be like, damn, you gotta do something, bro. It ain't working, man. So I'm saying, yeah, and it's funny how we look at ourselves. My wife said, "Oh, you look so handsome." I said, "Who are you looking at?" Because that brother is fat, you know. So we can look at ourselves and get a false impression of what we think we seeing until the Most High shows us for real what we really like. And then we feel bad about ourselves, but we also, again, that gives us the opportunity to say, okay, I know I'm messed up, but I could go to him who is perfection, and he accepts me, and he offers me his perfection in place of my imperfection. And then we can say, and that stops us from ever bragging about our righteousness. Right. There's no boasting. That's what Paul likes to say. There's no boasting in it. It's just saying he has blessed me and given me what I don't deserve. And that is called grace. Right? That's called grace. He has blessed me and given me what I don't deserve to have, but without which I could not be saved. So he has blessed me with that. Therefore, it's called grace. And he gives me that grace, and that causes me to be looked upon by him as perfect. Although within myself, I know I'm not. So we praise the Most High. And that's why we're all going to be shocked when we get to the kingdom and he declares us perfect. And we're all going to cast them crowns at his feet because that perfection is not of us. And we know that. All of us will know that. We'll be in an atmosphere that we know we don't deserve to be in. But it's going to be blessed, and we're going to know that he got us there. Praise the Most High. Okay, verse 3. Well, first, before we go do that, 40. Can we get 2 or 3 witnesses on 40? Can we get 2 or 3 witnesses on 40? In the mouth of what? 2 or 3 witnesses, right? I don't want nobody to just take my word for it. Let's let the word tell us, right? Okay, so we know that, first of all, the 40 came for them when they came out of Egypt, right? So they was in Egypt, in slavery, then they were delivered, then they were in the wilderness for 40 years. When they got to the borders of the promised land, they were sent into the land for 40 days, right? So they were sent into the land for 40 days. They came in there, came back with an evil report. Well, this was before the 40 years. They came back with an evil report. Then he said, for each day you went into the land, I'm going to keep you in the wilderness. So 40 years. You were in the land 40 days. I'm going to keep you in there 40 years. Let's look at that. That's Numbers chapter 14. Yep. So this is still Moses. Numbers chapter 14. In the beginning, the Most High named the children of Israel. The Most High called Moses. The Most High spake to Moses. These be the words. This is the part where the Most High called Moses. Numbers chapter 14, and let's begin at I'm going to start at verse 32. I'm going to read from verse 32 down to verse 38. But as for you, your carcasses, they shall fall in this wilderness, and your children shall wander in the wilderness 40 years, and bear your whoredoms until your carcasses be wasted in the wilderness. After the number of the days in which ye search the land, even 40 days, each day for a year, shall ye bear your iniquities, even 40 years, and ye shall know my breach of promise. And I, Yahweh, have said, I will surely do it unto you all this evil congregation that are gathered together against me in this wilderness. They shall be consumed, and there they shall die. And the men which Moses sent to search the land, who returned and made the congregation to murmur against him by bringing up a slander upon the land, even those men that did bring up the evil report upon the land died by the plague before Yahweh. But Joshua, the son of Nun, and Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, were of them, yes, right, were of the men that went to search out the land, lived still. So if you remember too, when they came after the 40 years, they were not circumcised. Remember that? So they came back at the end of the 40 years, and they had those that had been born in the wilderness were not circumcised. So if they weren't circumcised, what does that mean? What does circumcision mean? They weren't in the covenant, right? They weren't part of the covenant. So before they went across, they got to be circumcised. So they all were circumcised, and they became part into the covenant. And then they crossed Jordan and went in. Okay, what about us? We got to be circumcised. Our hearts got to be circumcised. So we were the children in the wilderness. We was in the Baptist churches eating that pig, right? We was out here doing foolishness. And we have to have, as we're now getting back to the borders of the promised land, we also have to have our hearts circumcised so that we'll be ready to cross over. Okay? Our fathers that were before us died in the wilderness. And here we are, right here getting ready to cross over. So we praise the Most High. Okay, let's continue now. 40. So now we see that numbers. Let's go to, let's see. I usually in these situations, the major prophets help me out. So I'm going to go to Isaiah first. Isaiah chapter 10. Okay, yes, Isaiah chapter 10. I'm going to read from verse 20. I'm going to read from verse 20 down to verse 26. I want you to watch the mention of Egypt in these verses. This is Isaiah chapter 20 from verse, Isaiah chapter 10, excuse me. Isaiah chapter 10 from verse 20 to verse 26. And just in case y'all didn't know, which I'm sure you might, I keep repeating the verses because some people are listening on CC. And so I keep repeating the verses so they can see them when the words come up. That's why I do it like that. I'm not just babbling to repeat myself. I do that for a reason. Yeah, so that's why I keep repeating the verse. So yeah, right. See, so I repeat it several times so people will know what it is, and that way they can follow. Okay, so now Isaiah chapter 10 from verse 20 to verse 26. And it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Israel, who? The remnant of who? Israel. Oh, not the United States? Oh, okay. The remnant of Israel, and such as are escaped of the house of Jacob, just to make sure they understand, it's the remnant of Israel who are the house of Jacob. That is Jacob's children. And again, why is that? Because Jacob was named Yasharah or Israel, and we are his descendants. So not everybody is the descendant of Jacob. There's a lot of Shemites that's not the descendants of Jacob. There's a lot of people that are even Hebrew, but are not the descendants of Jacob. It's Jacob's descendants that are the chosen seed. And that's who we be. Okay, now, verse 21. Verse 20. And shall no more stay upon him that smote him, but shall stay upon Yahweh, the Holy One of Israel, in truth. The remnant shall return, even the remnant of Jacob, unto the mighty Most High. For though thy people Israel be as the sand of the sea, yet a remnant of them shall return. And the consumption decreed shall overflow with righteousness. And the Most High Yahweh of hosts shall make a consumption, even determined in the midst of all the land. Therefore, thus saith the Most High Yahweh of hosts, O my people that dwellest in Zion, be not afraid of the Assyrian. He shall smite thee with a rod, and shall lift up his staff against thee after the manner of Egypt. For yet a little while, and the indignation shall cease, and mine anger in their destruction. And Yahweh of hosts shall stir up a scourge for him according to the slaughter of Midian at the rock of Oreb. And as his rod was upon the sea, so shall he lift it up after the manner of Egypt. So again, he's comparing our deliverance to our deliverance from Egypt. Okay, everybody see that? So as the 40 years started with the deliverance in Egypt, so our will start as our deliverance is coming back. And we're going to read some more witnesses on this. This is Isaiah. Let's go to Jeremiah. Jeremiah chapter 23. Okay, I'm going to start at verse 6, and I'm going to go down from verse 6 down to verse 8, Jeremiah chapter 23, 6 to 8. In his days, Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall dwell safely. And this is his name whereby he shall be called, Yahweh our righteousness. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that they shall no more say, Yahweh liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But Yahweh liveth, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north countries and from all countries whither I have driven them, and they shall dwell in their own land. So again, it's not coming out of Egypt this time. It's coming out of all the countries that we've been driven into. Okay, so the deliverance is going to be decreed from all the countries. That's the difference. It's going to be after the manner of Egypt in terms of our deliverance. Why? Because what happened in Egypt before we were delivered? What was going on there before we were delivered? What caused? Right, they had plagues coming on them before we were delivered, and in fact, it was because of the plagues that they said, "Get these people out of here, man," because they're destroying the whole economy. Right, all Egypt is destroyed. But then, as we were leaving, they saw their money going, and they said, "Oh, we gotta get them Negroes back, quick! Get the armies together, get the chariots ready. We gonna get them. Either we gonna get them or we gonna kill them." But the Most High allowed them to get hemmed in by the mountains. That's what he told Moses. He said, "Lead them this way." Moses said, "Yep, you're gonna be hemmed in by the mountains because I'm gonna get my glory on Pharaoh." Right? So that's why it's gotta be where it looks bad for us. It's gotta be where it looks like it's curtains for us. And that's when he steps in. He steps in and he gets his glory on instead of it being Pharaoh. This time it's the whole Babylon system. They're gonna all know who he is when it's done with it. Okay. Jeremiah. He said we got Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, brother Zeke, Ezekiel chapter 20. All right. Where should I start with this one, man? This, because he gives the whole history here. Do you realize when you read Ezekiel 20, he's telling you that they were worshiping Egyptian gods and he was about to destroy them in Egypt? He got so sick of them. He said, I was about to destroy him in Egypt. He said, but I withheld because of my holy name. You think we still acting like we should stay in Egypt now? Yes. No doubt, right? Right on, come on, by y'all. No doubt. Okay, so let's start at let me see, man. I don't want to read the whole thing because I got a lot of stuff to read, but I'm trying to shorten it here. Okay. 10, huh? Be good to jump in at 10. Let me look at that here. Hold on. I'm gonna start further down. Okay, I'm gonna start further down. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna start at verse 30. Okay, a little further down. All of it is sweet though. So please read the whole chapter when you get a chance. Okay, because it tells you your history and it tells you your future as well. Just like all prophecy, it tells you your history and your future. But this one, let's start at verse 31. Oh, wait. Hold on. I'm gonna start at verse 33. Okay, I'm gonna start at verse 30. Sorry, I'm gonna start at verse 30. I'm gonna start at verse 30, and I'm gonna read from verse 30 down to verse 38. Actually, from verse 30 to the appropriate number, verse 40. Okay, all right. Wherefore say unto the house of Israel, again, this is for us. Thus saith the Most High Yahweh, are ye polluted after the manner of your fathers, and commit ye whoredom after their abominations? For when ye offer your gifts, when ye make your sons to pass through the fire, Ye pollute yourself. You know what that is, right? It's abortion. When you make your children to pass through the fire, you're killing them. And they set them abortion clinics in our neighborhoods. And we get most of the abortions. But they people doing it too. But that they set that up. Margaret Sanger is the originator of eugenics. You can look her up. She set that up to experiment on us and kill us. See, that's what they did. But of course, here we still are. It didn't work, right? It wasn't going to. For when ye offer your gifts, when ye make your sons to pass through the fire, ye pollute yourselves with all your idols, even unto this day. And shall I be inquired of by you, O house of Israel? As I live, said the Most High Yahweh, I will not be inquired of by you. And that which cometh into your mind shall not be at all that ye say, we will be as the heathen, as the families of the countries, to serve wood and stone. Wood and stone, what's that? What's wood and stone today? Yeah, Christianity, the wooden cross and stone, that pile of bricks in Saudi Arabia that they call Mecca, wood and stone, okay? All right, let's see. Where was I? Okay, verse 33. As I live, said the Most High Yahweh, surely with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury pulled out will I rule over you. And I will bring you out from the people and will gather you out of the countries wherein you were scattered with a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out. And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face. Like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness in the land of Egypt, so will I plead with you, said the Most High Yahweh. And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and will bring you into the bond of the covenant. And I will purge out from among you the rebels, and them that transgressed against me. And I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel, and ye shall know that I am Yahweh. As for you, O house of Israel, thus saith the Most High Yahweh, go ye, serve ye every one his idols, and hereafter also, if ye will not hearken unto me, but pollute ye my holy name no more with your gifts and with your idols. For in my holy mountain, in the mountain of the height of Israel, saith the Most High Yahweh, there shall all the house of Israel, all of them in the land, serve me. There will I accept them, and there will I require your offerings and the first fruits of your oblations with all your holy things. You see, we are being prepared to go there, so we'll be accepted there. Does that make sense? We're being prepared to be there. That's the seal. Again, it all goes together. That's the seal that prepares us to be there, so that he can accept everything we do there. He don't accept everything we do here, but he accepts everything we do there because we'll be sealed and prepared. And he prepared. Now, notice he said too, again, he's going to take care of us in the wilderness like he took care of our fathers in the wilderness. Now, listen here. This is where faith comes in. We used to sitting in couches and getting food delivered to us and having cable. We'll have none of that. It's just going to be us with the clothes we got on and the sky and the Father. And we're going to be dependent on him. We can't go to the store. We're not going to be able to go to shopping. We're not going to have no money. No credit card will work. We won't have no cash. Nobody will let us buy anything or sell anything. You can't sell stuff and get some money to get some. You won't have it. It's just going to be you and your Father. Now, understanding that, we also understand that the only reason we'll be able to do it is because of his grace. We'll be complete. You won't be able to do it. If you're thinking about it now, you say, damn, man, right? I can't do that. Well, you're right. You can't. How you look out there in the wilderness trying to make your way through some dirt, man, you ain't going to be able to do it. But if your Father's grace is on you and he provide for you, which he promised that he would, then you'll expect it because you know he's going to do it. You're thirsty, water could come out of a rock if he needed, right? Or if somebody chasing you and there's a lake before you, he can cause you to walk across it. They'll be looking for boats and you running across the water, right? If you need food, he had ravens bring Elijah food twice a day, flesh in the morning and flesh in the evening. He had an angel come to Elijah and say, wake up, man, got some food for you. And he ate the food. Then he said, wake up again. God had cakes for him. Eat the cakes. And then sent him out there for 40 days. Only the Father could do that. When Moses come down from the mountain and he was glowing with the 2 tables of the covenant in his hand, it wasn't because of Moses. It's because of what he was just with. Right? So we, being with the Father, he will prepare us the same way. That's where it comes in. As holy as Moses was, or is, I should say, as holy as Elijah is, we also can be like them with the same spirit and the same Father and the same trust. We don't have to be perfect in terms of what we do. We do need to be perfect in terms of our faith in our Father. We got to have an unwavering faith in his word and in his spirit. That will cause us to receive all that he has for us. Okay, but we're being prepared for that. As we say, take notes of every time you have gotten delivered. And you know it. I can't know which for you, but you know, Father, if you only get me out of this one, I'll be good, right? And you know you wasn't, but you also know he did deliver you though, right? And you say, man, okay, so you remember all of those times he brought us forth. Like my wife and I think, we look back at all the places he sent us because we're concerned we're going someplace that's safe. But we look back at every time my wife would use this sentence, and it's not like we remember the previous times until she said, the Lord has chosen well. Because it means that. And he keeps you wherever he sends you. So it doesn't matter if you're here, if you're wherever you come from, or he sends you some other place. If he is sending you, you're good. Problem is, if you are sending you, it's bad. It's a problem. If you are sending you, it could all look good, but it ain't. If he is sending you, it could look bad, but it's good because he got you. He gave me a dream one time before we moved to the DC area where I was walking in the city. At the time, I didn't know it was DC, but it was dangerous. Every place I looked, but there was this bubble around me. It was like a glowing bubble, and it was protecting me from everything that was around me. So later when I went to DC, my wife said, remember that protection bubble? I said, oh, yeah. And we lived in a neighborhood in DC where my wife said, man, they were sizing me up when I come out the subway. I said, yeah, they be watching you when you come out, watching when you go to your place. There was people running around with a hammer bashing you in the back of your head. But none of that happened to us because we had the protection because he told us beforehand he was going to protect us. So and I'm going to tell you, man, I mean, we from New York. I've been in Bed-Stuyvesant. I've been in all kind of neighborhoods. I ain't never seen nothing like DC, man. I mean, shoot. That's what I'm saying, bro. I mean, I'm saying like in DC, like in New York, like one time we was walking down Central Park. It was like 10 or 11 o'clock at night. We weren't walking in Central Park. We were walking on Central Park West. So we walking and we see this white girl running in Central Park, and somebody said, "What's she doing running?" And as we said that, dude jumped out in the woods. She screamed. And not only that, she was carrying a pouch, jogging with a pouch. Snatched her, took the pouch, and went back in the woods. And we was like, "What was you doing running in Central Park at 10 o'clock at night?" See, so like in New York, you have an idea. Okay, you could do this, but you can't do that, right? There's places you could go and places you can't go. So you knew like, okay, if you're in Harlem on a Saturday afternoon, it's great, it's cool. But you didn't want to be there at 3 a.m. on the same spot because you're going to have a whole different experience, right? Right? But in DC, it could be 1 in the afternoon, 9 in the morning, 4 in the afternoon. It could jump off anytime. And you felt your spidey senses tingling the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Be like, whoa. You know, you always looking around. So my wife came, she had come after me. She came and she said, and she liked to go for walks, just jump out and go for a walk. And she said, I'm getting ready to go for it. I said, no, you're not. Not here, you ain't. I said, you can't do it here. And then after she got off that subway a couple of nights, she said, yeah, you're right, I can't do it here. No, not here. When we get out of here, you can do it. But while we was there, he protected us. Nothing happened to us. He kept us safe. And that's the thing. That's the point. Wherever he has you is the place he decided you to be, and he's going to protect you. Part of being with the Most High is safety. Okay, part of being with the Most High is safety. Where you can't protect yourself, he can protect you. As long as you're in the place he wants you to be. If you think, well, I'm going to do this and that, and you ain't acknowledged him. Now you decided, and you on your own. Okay, when they went up and they tried to take the land after he said, no, I'm not with you. They went up there and caught the wrath. They got beat down. Because he said, I told you don't go. You didn't listen. When I was with you, you didn't want to go. Now I'm telling you don't go and you're trying to go. No, don't do that. You want his protection with you all the time. This world is a violent world. It's very violent. Just like it said before the flood, the world was filled with violence. Is it not like that now? And I mean violent, very violent, right? So you got to be always on your guard, even though you know the Father's with you, right? I was telling Brother Lonnie, Brother Lonnie's security. You don't know that. He's the security in this piece. Brother Lonnie, and I'm bringing Brother Michael. He like you. He's just more quiet than you. He's just quiet. So, but y'all security. So somebody come in here, then y'all know what to do. You know what to do. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You don't want to fool around and find out. You don't want to fool around and find out. But we got Marines in here too. Yeah, the guy that can't add. Yo, we got it covered. The Most High got us covered. But see, that's the point though, right? Because we really got the Most High protecting us. But for my flesh, I feel better that Lonnie's here, that Brother Castillo's here, Brother Michael's here. I said, okay, if somebody coming acting a fool, they want to fool around, they will find out. So all that's saying to me is the Most High got a whooping for them coming because they came in here and they shouldn't have, right? They came in the wrong room at the wrong time with the wrong people. And they caught the right beat down. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, but we really do know the Most High got us. But like I said, my wife said, well, you know the Most High protected you. But I'd be like, yeah, I know. I'll be at that gas station. I was just telling them I'm at a gas station. I'll be like, because it come off at the gas station. Now I know he protected me, but I still feel better though. I'll be like, okay. As long as y'all act all right, we gonna act all right. If you want to mess around, you will find out too. So it's just like that. So praise the Most High. So He will keep you when you're where you're supposed to be. He will not keep you where you're not supposed to be. You start going to a place you ain't supposed to be. Now you got a problem. All right. So now where was I? 40. Was it? Okay, Ezekiel 40. Thank you. For in my holy mountain, is that part 40? Did we get to 40? No. Yeah, okay. Thank you. Okay, that's right. Okay, thank you. Hey, verse 39. As for you, O house of Israel, thus saith the Most High Yahweh, go ye, serve, that's right, this is where I was, serve ye everyone his idols, herein also, if ye will not hearken unto me, but pollute ye my holy name no more with your gifts and with your idols. For in my holy mountain, in the height of Israel, saith the Most High Yahweh, there shall all the house of Israel, all of them in the land, serve me. That's right. There will I accept them, and there will I require your offering, the first fruit of your oblations, with all your holy things. When I seen that thing when it says your gifts, and he's saying, I don't want your gifts, that reminds me when people be collecting money in church. I don't understand where it didn't come from the Most High. No, it didn't. It did not come from the Most High. Send us your tithe. They ain't no law, but they do remember that tithe one, though. Right? Ain't no law. The Lord done away with it. Pass that plate. Maybe you get your tithe. The Lord will bless the 9/10 more than the 10/10. And then I had some fools about saying 10 plus 10 plus. This is my math. Oh, right. Exactly. But you know what? The electric company don't want to hear that. That's right. I'm short this month. Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You're going to be short some light too. While the pastor living large. But them gifts he don't accept. He ain't blessing you because you give to some pimp. That's what they be, pimps. He ain't blessing you that way. What make them decide they need your money? That's why, in a lot of awakened congregations, they have a Christianized version of the congregation. And why? Because we've been brainwashed when that plate comes around and reach in your pocket. And they're getting that money. And so they're using our brainwashing so that they could get paid. listen, this ain't the time, man. This ain't the time for pimps to get rich. This is the time for the Most High's people to come to him. Right? Now, there will be a time, if you read the book of Acts, what you will never see in the book of Acts, two things you will see. One thing you will see, one thing you won't see. What you won't see is you won't see the apostle saying, we need you to reach in your pocket and give us money. But what you will see is people selling land and giving them money. So what's the difference? The difference is the people that sold the land to give them money pledged to the Most High that I'm giving to these brothers. The brothers didn't say, give us your money. And what did the brothers do with the money? The Bible said they distributed to every man as they had need. So when somebody was struggling with something, like in this day, it would be, I'm getting ready to get evicted. Right. Now, the pimp don't need that rent money, but that sister getting ready to get evicted, she need that money. That he ain't giving it up. That's right. I'm saying we need it for the lights, he'll say, or the building fund. Listen, did we build this? But listen, here we are. That's right. Right? Here we are. You don't need no building. The Most High does not dwell in buildings made with hands. He does not do that. He dwells in buildings made without hands. That's us. And when we get to the New Jerusalem, that wasn't made by us. That was made by him. And we'll dwell there. But he don't dwell in buildings made with hands. We could be under a tree out there. He don't care as long as we are of the same spirit. We could be in and that's what it's gonna come to. You're gonna be in somebody's apartment, somebody's house. You're gonna be. That's how it's coming now. Because you're not gonna be able. Obviously, we have no place to go in somebody's denominational church, so that we could be reaching in our pocket. You work hard for what you get, and let the Most High tells you what to do. You know, I was thinking this morning, what if every pastor of every church said, instead of taking that 10% and giving it to them, you saved it? What if he said, I want all of y'all to open savings accounts and take 10% of your money and put it in there every time you get paid? You'd be having a happier congregation, wouldn't you? Yeah. And y'all would really have some money, right? You really prosper. Instead of him saying, well, the Lord needs your money. And I represent the Lord. So, right? Yeah. So that'd be different. If somebody really wanted to help the people, they'd be saying, put that money in the savings account. And then the people will be able to say, you know, I heard Sister So-and-so getting ready to get an electric cut off. She got 3 kids. Maybe we could get together and help out. And you wouldn't even need to talk to them. The sisters and brothers would say, because, you know, churches, everybody know everybody's business, right? So you'd be like, oh, yeah, I heard that too. I heard her husband left her. Okay, she might need a little help. Let's get together and throw something in there. And you don't even tell, just put it in envelopes, leave it on her doorstep, leave it in a mailbox. She don't know where it came from, but y'all came together and did it. Because now, instead of giving it to the church, you done saved it. 2 or 3 years of saving tithe in your own savings account. What you look like then? And I'll tell you what, you wouldn't just be throwing it on no new car either. No. You're like, man, this money was hard to come by. Hey, we ain't just gonna throw it on a new car. Some slick talking salesman saying, yeah, put it on this new. You'd be like, nah, bruh, we ain't doing that. It'd be a different story. See, because y'all know, I mean, listen, if nobody knows better than the Hebrews how hard it is to put 2 nickels together in Babylon. Right? You know, listen, one of my brothers, he said, man, they said, listen, you come get this car. He said, man, I got credit like a thief. He said, how am I going to get a car? I got credit like a thief, man. And it's like, why is it? That's one of the things that I always say. Most High, why is it that always us? Are we just bad? We just credit risk? What is it? No, we don't make as much as them. We don't have as much as them, and we pay more for where we live. So we are under the gun from Jump Street. And we don't grow up around the table talking about savings and talking about investment. We don't grow up like that. So when we grow up, we trying to, man, can I get that new car? And why? Because we feel good when we got the new car. Can't afford it now, but we feel good. Or we can get them new threads. Man, I'm tight, I'm clean. Ain't got a pot to pee in or a window to throw down. But I'm clean. And it makes us feel good. right? And that's the whole thing, it make us feel good. But and we all struggle in this system. Now, there's some exceptions. My father was one of them. He was an exception. Now I used to tell him, I said, Pop, lots of people work as hard as you do and don't have what you have. See? So he was blessed like that. But that's not the norm. That's not the norm. Yeah. So there it is. So that's what I'm saying. When they say gifts, what's a gift really? What is it? So we don't want gifts. It's not gifts that's not blessed. That's right. The gifts that's blessed are the ones that Yahweh has told us that we should do. That's to the widow, the fatherless, the poor. That's the blessed one. It's not the one where you give into some building fund to build a building for what? So y'all can sing in there and give more money? Yeah. That's what it comes down to. And the building thing. Preacher or pastor. Yeah. I like to tell this brother invited me to church, kept bugging me to come to his church. And one day we were working on some business, and his lawyer, he said, the lawyer gonna meet me at the church. You got to come to the church. He was trying to set it up. So I came in there, and I'm sitting in there, and it was a Wednesday night. And I'm sitting in there, brother, and they got loud. This fat dude with this purple suit was in the top. And he's leading them singing and everything, right? So then I'm noticing, now I don't know nobody in there. So I'm sitting and I'm noticing some sisters come in with like real mini skirt, tight, half dressed. And I'm like, dang, okay. So I'm looking and I'm like, dang, he bringing the hose in here. That's what I'm saying. That's what I was thinking. So then this dude comes in with the Jerry curl. Now this is in the 2000s. Jerry curl played out in the 80s, right? So homie comes in with the silk suit and the Jerry curl, and he had 5 women with him. He came in there with 5 women, and I saw him come in. I said, yo, for real, the pimps, they coming in, I said, whoa, they got something going on. So after they started getting it was getting loud in there, so loud I had to go to the bathroom and pray, because it was like the place was shaking, but it wasn't from the Holy Ghost, though. So after we met his lawyer, we walking back to the parking lot, and he said, what you think of my church? And I said, your pastor, that dude with the purple suit? He said, nah, that's brother so-and-so. He's the choir director. I said, oh. I said, what? But some of the pimps coming in. He said, you see him? I said, man, that dude with the 5 girls. He said, yo, that was the pastor. And then I said, that was your pastor? And he said, yeah. I said, that's the dude with the 5 cars and the big house. And he said, yeah. He said, what you think of my church? I said, at that moment, I said to him, bro, listen, man, I don't want to talk about your church. I said, I don't want to talk about your church. I said, I ain't want to say nothing. I just said, that's your church. Do your thing, And so he grabbed my arm. Said, yo, wait, I asked you what you think about my church. And I said, oh, you want to know? So then I said, your pastor's a pimp and y'all getting played. And he said, just like that, he said, exactly. And he kept going though. And I said, in that moment, that dude house was in foreclosure. And I said, so your pastor got 5 cars. He live in a mansion in Philly. You in foreclosure and you giving him your money. And you asking me about your church. I said, let's leave, man. Let's go. I ain't want to hear no more about his church. But see, that's how a lot of people do it. That's how a lot of people do it. Pastors live in large, or in the SDA church, you don't see it. They go to their conference. Yeah. So you go to their conference office and they tight. This conference is tight. And they be stealing money from people. They go to the old people and say, we want to give your estate to the church. Yeah. It's wickedness, isn't it? Yeah. So when I saw all that, I used to stick with it because I thought Christianity was it. Because I was just trying to be faithful to it, even if I didn't understand it. Right. But when I got awakened, man, one of the freeing things was that. Yeah. I ain't giving y'all no more money. I ain't even coming there. Done. And with the first day somebody needed something that really needed and I was able to help, that felt so good. Because now I know the money's being used. It was like it all fit. It was being used the way it was supposed to be used, not by no pimp, right? So, man, so gifts, there's different types of gifts. There's the holy gifts that's blessed, and then there's the gifts to the pimp. You got to decide who getting your gift. In the first place to get your gift is your savings account. Listen. And then when it's time to distribute, The Spirit will tell you, do this with the money. He'll tell you, right? And I've had people come up to me and say, the Most High, it's quiet. The Most High told me to give you this. And I said, you ain't got to do that. The Most High told me to give you this. I can't argue with somebody's conviction. But you ain't gonna never hear me stand up and say, listen, we need this money now. The bottom about to fall out. We need this money. Most High will provide.
You know, remember, I know when I was coming up and somebody died.
Right.
You never had to pay the preacher
Nope.
to say nothing.
Nope.
You got buried. He said it out his own.
Right.
People will feed you chicken.
That's right.
And stuff like that.
And they have food there. The repast. That's right. That's right. Now,
he got a certain day you got to get.
Yeah, right.
So he can bury and say something that he don't know nothing about.
Nothing, right.
Things
Right.
about that kid or
Man,
that person
please,
inside.
man. I've had one time a friend of mine, she carried the baby 9 months. Baby was 9 pounds and was born dead. And she asked me to speak at the thing. It was hard because the little casket, you know. But this dude came from the funeral home. I'm gonna speak. I'm past this. I said, no, you ain't. and then she said, no, you ain't. He's speaking. But then he came in there out of nowhere because he was with the funeral home, and that was he was trying to get his little fee. And I was like, isn't this something? He don't know my friend. He don't know their family. And he going to try to get some money because he's the pastor, Reverend so-and-so. I said, you can leave now. We don't need you here. You can stay if you want to, but you ain't speaking. I can tell you that right now. So that happened a couple times. People,
My niece.
yeah.
On my side, her mother said, no, I want him.
Yeah.
Me. I said, I want him.
They did it the same thing with my dad. He said, we got Reverend so. No, we don't need Reverend so. And then they came and said, you sure? I said, I am sure. We do not need him. We good. And then a sister came, so-called Reverend sister.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, for hell no.
I always tell my most time, women, minister, preachers, and
Whatever, brother. You know what I'm saying? But that's part of the world we live in.
Exactly.
It's part of the world we live in, man. It is what it is. I said, oh, no, hell no. She's not coming up in here. I said she could sit down and listen.
Exactly.
And she did. Her and her husband supposed to be brethren. There was like a tag team. Nowadays, they be having the tag team. And they say, the Lord blessed us, you know, and they be asking for money. I said, you sit down. You can sit down here now. But you ain't coming up here to say nothing. Don't even try it. It's like, oh, okay, all right. Yeah, I know. So, all right, so what do we get? We got Isaiah, we got Jeremiah, we got Ezekiel. Y'all see it though? Yes. Okay, so it's going to be after the manner of deliverance from Egypt. We're going to go through the same test, but it's different because we're coming from different parts of the earth. Now, we've been scattered throughout the earth. We scattered on all four corners, from Australia to Europe to Africa to wherever. We've been scattered there, to the Philippines, everywhere. And so we'll be getting called from all those places. And you know what? Just the other day, this brother contacted me on the channel. He awakened in the Philippines. Yeah. Now, the thing is, you know, he's not exactly where we are, but I ain't going to go into that. I was just glad he knew who he was. You know, he knew who he was. And I said, okay, go do your thing, you know. So that, which to me was confirmation of what I just told y'all, that the whole earth has us in it. And we are awakening from different places of the earth. So he was in the Philippines. There's people in Africa. There's people in London. There's people in Ireland. There's people all over the place that's awakening. And that's confirmation of what we've been looking at, what we've been reading. So that's what's happening. And here again, we ourselves are proof. We are the proof because we are the sign of the awakening. The awakening sign, the sign of the return of the Messiah is us. Our awakening is the sign. And so praise the Most High. And you know what? Guess what? The people that are not awakened won't see the sign. But we will see the sign. Right? So it's more important that we see it than they see it. You know, they can see what their business is to see, whatever. Right? But for us, it's the sign. So as we're awakening and coming to who we are, and the same spirit is dwelling on us, and that's what makes our fellowship sweet. We come together and all of us are wanting to serve the Creator. Right? That's the commonality that causes us to have a sweet fellowship. That, like, I met Arkawan Banya in Michigan, and it was like I always knew him. I met Michael, and it's like I always knew him. It's like I always knew Gary Jones. You could just feel it because it's the same love for the same Father. Okay, so we praise the Most High. So that's what caused us to come together, and that's what's going to continue to cause us to come together. All right, so back to Deuteronomy chapter 8. So now we're gonna start at verse 3. Okay, so now verse 3, and he humbled thee. Deuteronomy 8:3, and he humbled thee and suffered thee to hunger and fed thee with manna which thou knewest not, neither did thy fathers know, that he might make thee know that man doth not live by bread only, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of Yahweh does man live. Y'all ever been hangry? Hey, imagine some Hebrews being hangry. Yo, right? Just imagine that. They in the wilderness and they not just hungry, they hangry. That's why they came up to Moses and said, man, you better bring us some meat. Isn't that what they said? They said, listen here, this bread is all right, but we getting tired of this bread now. We need some meat. And just like some Hebrews, you got chicken? Right? What you mean you ain't got no chicken? And Moses said, they be ready to stone me. Don't get Hebrews hangry. So that's why we know it's the spirit, because we're gonna be hungry, but we're not gonna be hangry. You understand? Yeah, because we know where our Father is coming from. We understand where it's coming from, but it's the spirit that will cause us to keep us. You can have a theoretical knowledge of something that don't stop you from acting a fool. Okay, like I know I shouldn't have cursed that lady out. I knew that, you know, and brother and sister was there. They see me walk by. I said, "Don't buy that." You know, I was like, he made me mad. I said, "No, I ain't gonna tell you what I said." But I said, "Forget you and your trip and your visa card and your manager." And she said, "I gotta call my manager. You can call your mother, your manager, whoever you want." I said, "If I ain't seeing no numbers, we done." And I said, "I'm looking for my free stuff." "Well, the wife's got to be here." I said, "Oh, you had me sitting in here not 2 hours now, 2.5 hours." So we wasn't happy yesterday. And my wife was leaving. She started it. She gonna leave. Talking about me and Violet gotta go somewhere. I was like, "You gotta go in here and finish it." "No, I ain't staying." And then she said, "I'm gonna get Jillian to pick you up." I said, "I ain't calling Jillian." I walked in there and I was already smoke coming out my nose. And I was already mad. And see, I said, and I'm walking back and I'm so mad. And it's 100 yesterday. I was marching like I was a soldier, and I was marching back. I was so mad. These two white people coming toward me, and I could tell they were like, "Are you mad?" And I was like, "Yup." But then I caught myself and I said, "Yeah, you gotta calm down, man." I said, I needed that walk. I told Mommy, it's hot and everything, but I need that walk to cool me down for a second. Sometimes the air help you out, you know. So by the time I got here, I was all right. Then I seen her and Violet getting in the car, and I said, I was mad again. So I said, let me just, and they didn't see me come into the house. I was like, I'm gonna wait for them to get in the car because I don't want to hear nothing, man. I'm coming in here, I eat my steak, and I'm gonna chill. Sometimes fools can get the Hebrew to come out. I don't like it though, because I had to pray and say, Father, I'm sorry. So I did that. But I ain't going back in there with them fools no more. That's it. They done lost me now. But yeah. Sometimes the Hebrew will come out. And it's not cool when it comes out. You know, it's like, you know, the hug. You don't want me mad. I'm telling you don't want to see me like that. So we're trying to be cool, man. But see, the Most High sometimes uses that to let you see where you at. So they wasted 2.5 hours of my time, and I gotta learn to be cool anyway. You know, gotta be cool. But I failed yesterday. But you know, like I said, I know I can fail. You know what I'm saying? You know, but I know I can go to my daddy. I can go back to my daddy. So praise the Most High. But they ain't gonna want to see me no more. They ain't gonna want to see me. All right. So now Deuteronomy chapter 8. That's where we was. Okay, look at verse 4 now. Verse 4, Deuteronomy 8:4. Thy raiment waxed not old upon thee, neither did thy foot swell these 40 years. Imagine that. So you got the same threads on all 40 years. It never got old. Your foot never got hurt. Your sandals never wore out. 40 years. Right? That's serious now. So look, when we get in the wilderness now, we're going to just have the same clothes. It might smell, right? But the Most High going to keep us. Praise the Most High. He's going to keep us. Of course, you're going to try to hygiene, right? But he's going to keep you. And, you know, there's going to be no hangry, but there's going to be hungry. He said, I'll let you get hungry. I purposely let you get hungry so you can know my commandments and my word is more than food. And that was about the Messiah's 40 days too, right? He was hungry. The Bible said afterwards he was a hungered, and angels ministered to him because he was hungry and he was weak, and he withstood the temptation to sin against his father. Okay, our fathers failed that, and now we understand. I mean, again, just think of yourself. You know what you like when you're hungry. Try fasting for a day. That second day, whoo, right? You like, oh man, don't mess with me. Don't even. Not today. This ain't the day. That's why I tell my boy, I said, Mommy, this ain't the time. This ain't the time. Right here ain't the time. And she said, why you never talk? I said, because I don't want to say something that I'll regret later. So I just want to be by myself. When I say, she thinks sometimes your women, you think we just don't like. It's not that. It's like we don't want to break up on you. We don't want to blow up. So we need our time by ourselves to gather ourselves and chill for a minute. Sometimes a good walk will do it, you know, some air. Sometimes you just need to chill. And don't bother us when we like that. We'll come back. We just need that time. We don't want to have to come back and apologize for saying something that we didn't want to say. You know what I'm saying? So we got to chill for a minute. And, you know, we need that time. So that's what it is. Sometimes it come on us quick. And, you know, we learn. Especially you married to somebody. And you could tell when it's coming, right? And she could tell when it's coming. And if you really smart, that's when you'll leave it alone. Say, okay, leave it alone now. Okay. And I'll be like, all right, that's enough now. Leave it alone. Leave it alone, man. There's certain things I don't want. I don't want to hear it now. Nah. Leave it alone. So that's when you, okay. Or when she, oh, okay, ain't no talking to it now. Let's leave it. Leave it alone. If she decides, I ain't doing it, I ain't gonna mess with it, man. Just don't mess with it. So he kept our fathers with the same thread 40 years without it wearing out. Praise the Most High. Thou shalt also consider in thy heart that as a man chasteneth his son, so Yahweh thy Most High chasteneth thee. Now let me ask you all a question. If a son grows up with no chastening, right? He has no instruction. He is never chastened. First of all, we know the boy's going to be spoiled. But second, the Bible has a name for that child. What is it? It's a bastard child. A bastard is a child, a son that grows up with no instruction. You don't have no instruction and used to getting no instruction from nobody. That you're raising that child for the penitentiary. You know, I remember once my brother said he was kind of letting his son do whatever, and me and him had a fight one day, and I said, "You are raising this boy for jail." I said, and the boy heard it. I did right there in front of the boy. Boy about 13. I said, "You raising him for the jail," and he caught that, and now he's very productive. He remembered that. I hated to say it. But I had to be true because he's my brother, right? So I had to be true. So I said, man, you raising the boy for the penitentiary, man. Don't do that. So the Bible said the father, we are not bastards. No. We are his children. So because we're his children, he will chasten us. And he doesn't do it because he hates us. He's doing us to keep us out the eternal penitentiary. Yes. Isn't that right? There's a reason for it. He don't want you to go into eternal penitentiary. He wants to stay with you. He wants to walk with you. So in order to do that, that means you walking with him. And if you acting the fool, he's got to do what mama used to do. What daddy used to do, pull the car over and take care of business. I told y'all to be quiet back there. I told y'all to be quiet back there. pull over. And then my brother, I go, uh-oh. The jig is up now.
Me and Joyce and her granddaughter, grandson, and I have my grandson, right? We sitting
I can see where this goes.
She's in Walmart. He got the key in the back of my truck.
Oh no, oh no, he didn't. Oh no.
I said, him down. I said, son of a gun.
And we know you ain't said that, but that's all right.
I said, you don't like what I say? And then when I finished doing you and me,
you know what that's called? The Hebrew.
I was hot.
That's the Hebrew. That's the Hebrew. My father's look over the seat and say, quiet down. And we still play. Quiet down. And then when you see the car pull over, my brother and I look at each other like, you know, it was over then, boy. So he chasing us. Why? Because he loves us. He's trying to get us to be right. That's the Heavenly Father. If he didn't chasing us, he wouldn't love us.
Nope.
You know, so some people, if they pay you a lot of attention, they're showing you that they like you. If they ignore you, they're showing you they don't care about you. I don't care what you know. Yeah. So if they like you, you say, why they pick them over? Because they like you. They're showing you they like you. But if they don't pay no attention to you, they don't know if you even in the room, they don't care about you.
Right.
Isn't that right?
Now, he get straight A's.
Yeah.
And his mother and father never said nothing.
Nah, they ain't gonna say nothing.
They start chasing him.
Yeah, right. So the Father will do that to us to prepare us so that we can be good kids. Basically, what it comes down to. We can be obedient children. Okay, praise the Most High. All right, verse 6. Therefore, thou shalt keep the commandments of Yahweh thy Most High, to walk in his ways and to fear him. Again, it started with that and he ended with that. Keep the commandments of Yah, walk in his ways. He's going to chasten you. He's going to let you be hungry and hangry. And he's going to teach you that his word is more important than your food. Okay, and we're going to learn that too, unfortunately. Fortunately, however you want to look at it, we're going to learn that too. Praise the Most High. All right, so I'm going to stop here, and we're going to come back at chapter 8, verse 7. And we're going to start there and go from there. We're going to take a break right now, 10:30, and we'll come back about an hour, about 11:30. All right, give everybody a little break. Let the kids get woke up. Y'all know where Sister Castro is, 21405. 21405. So wherever, if any youth want to go over there, that's where she's at. Shalom, brethren. We'll be back in about an hour.